So apparently there is a professor that reacted to me, reacting to Dave Farley about functional programming is not better than OOP. I'm a little nervous because, one, I hate hearing myself talk. I think all people don't really like hearing themselves talk back. And B, I also don't plan anything I'm going to say. I just kind of freeform, okay? I kind of ejaculate words out of my mouth. And so, just like that phrase. That phrase was not necessarily a planned phrase, but it still came out the face hole. And so here we are, reacting to a reaction of a reaction, okay?
I tell my wife every time I teach this particular lecture, this is such a snooze fest. So I've decided this time...
Average Dr. Disrespect enjoyer. You can just tell right away this man is an average Dr. Disrespect enjoyer right there. Just hitting them with the snooze fest. You know for a fact this guy is out there just being like, my students just flapping their gums all day. Dude, it's so good.
Especially because we're trying to squeeze it in a little bit. Let's only talk about the stuff that matters, and let's try and make it a bit more fun. So this was what the outline looked like as of October 22nd, or, a few days ago. This is what it's going to be today.
I am really deeply feeling uncomfortable right now. I really don't want to know what stupid opinion I had. And I can't believe, dude, I sound like a cartoon character.
We're going to start by watching Primeagen, who is...
Said the name right. Said the name right. Let's go. Let's go, random B-tier blog. Let's go. Dude, the guy, he likes it. He likes it. Prototype-based language, JavaScript. Get the hell out of here.
Somebody that I just found, one of my friends showed me him a little bit ago. We're going to still focus heavily on the core concepts of OO, because that's something that actually matters. You guys think that you know what OO is. You don't even know what the concepts are.
Oh, no. I think I know what he's going to quote me on. I think I know what's about to happen here.
But you've written a lot of OO, so it's going to be familiar.
Deeply uncomfortable.
Then we're going to look at this kind of bad blog, but it shows an interesting point. We're going to skip prototype-based stuff entirely, talk a little bit about this language called Smalltalk.
Smalltalk. The funny part is that every time I hear someone talk about Smalltalk, it's almost universally pretty positive, which is strange because it seems like Smalltalk would be awful, but I've heard so many positive things about it, which is I'm just having a hard time believing that. Smalltalk is a true OOP, apparently. It is the only true Scotsman. How's the weather? Driven development. Smalltalk, yeah, because nobody is actually using it anymore. Okay, that's fair. Fair. If you want modern Smalltalk, you can try Pharo. I don't want modern Smalltalk. Okay? It's like Latin. Everyone knows that it exists, but no one actually speaks it out loud.
You've probably never heard of, but is extremely influential. So, with that said, welcome to Professor Reacts to Primeagen Reacts to Functional Programming is Not Better Than OOP. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah.
One of my most...
Yes! Let's go! Man, this professor's pretty good. This professor's pretty good because I never remember to say like and subscribe, and he's out here just doing the Lord's work for me. All right, this might be a little bit low, so I'm not exactly sure. I may have to bump up the volume, okay? And then it might get really loud when the professor talks. Just an ear warning, okay? Ear warning.
Like and subscribe.
One of my most successful videos on this channel so far compares functional and object-oriented programming. This is an interesting topic, and clearly not just to me. But there's more to this debate than we discussed in that episode. This is one of those debates that, to be honest, seems a little weird to me.
I think I could have agreed with this take not too long ago. Real talk, I really do think I would be on the...
Yeah, so we're currently talking about the debate between functional versus OO. Which one is better? Primeagen is a Netflix senior engineer. He's got 2 decades of experience writing code. He's also a Twitch streamer that, is kind of funny. So
Hey, we got kind of funny. We got kind of funny, okay? I think I could put that on the shelf. I feel like that is going to work out. Oh, man. In fact, that's turning into a tweet right there. And boom. I'll accept it. I'm going to accept it. I'm accepting kind of funny. Not like fully funny, not like Zach Galifianakis funny, but, you know, we're getting places, okay? We're getting places. 3 out of 5 funny. Yeah, a solid 3 out of 5 funny. Some professor while shrugging. While shrugging.
We're going to watch just a little bit of this.
Strange debate kind of talk. Maybe if you would have asked me 5 years ago, 7 years ago, hey, Prime, what do you think on the functional versus non-functional debate? I'd probably have some stupid-ass take, right? This was probably during the height, maybe if you went 8 years ago, my height of loving RxJS, and I'd have been like, reactive functional programming is so great, right? But I really don't even know what functional programming is at that point. Still don't even really know what it is. I'm just going to be straight up here.
Does anybody really know what functional programming is? You know, that's kind of hard.
Procedural programming is greater than everything else.
What is procedural programming?
Let's go. Does anybody really know what functional programming? I mean, Pick does. Pick knows, but I don't know. Okay, I don't really know. Okay, I'm not a Haskeller. Okay, even my only baseline experience in functional programming is my brief little foray, my little dip in my hot dog into OCaml, and that was not like. It's not like OCaml is considered real functional programming to the Haskellers. Haskellers look down on OCaml. They're like, oh, OCaml, that's not even real, right? And so it's just like, OCaml, my camel feels real, but apparently it's not really real. TJ surely knows functional by now. No, he doesn't. He only knows OCaml. TJ isn't a real functional programmer yet, okay? It has a while loop in it. It's fake functional programming. It is fake functional programming, okay?
Is it like scripting pretty much? No, it's different than that. You guys have all written procedural code.
I love
C. C is procedural. It means you use a function.
Yes.
A procedure is called a function.
I love it.
If you wrote functions, you've done procedural code. He's using it in a slightly different sense, in that everyone talks about Rust being procedural. They just say that because they want to pretend it's like C.
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness, that is such a good take. They just want to pretend Rust is like C. They just wish Rust actually was based, but it's not based, okay? It's never been based. It just always wished it could be, but they can't. You know, should we ever be surprised that an authoritarian language has people that are running it that are authoritarian? No, we should not be surprised. This is great.
My stance is not that I hate functional programming and love OO, or vice versa, but rather that I think of each of these approaches as tools, rather than things to go to war about.
So I'm not even... So this whole idea of saying that a language paradigm is a tool is an interesting take to begin with, right? I'm trying not to insult
them. And it's a wrong take. A paradigm is a perspective.
Let's go.
Functional programming is not a tool. It's a way to look at a problem.
Let's go.
Then the language itself is a tool that you can use to solve that problem.
Oh, I love that. That's actually a really good take, by the way. Base professor dunking on Prime. This was perfect. I got dunked on, and I am completely okay with it. That is like the perfect way to say it, by the way, is that it is a paradigm. It's a way to look at a problem. It is not a tool. That was perfect. This was fantastic. Let's go. Retake it. I'm doing a quick retake. Retake, that's my opinion. You know that meme where the guy hands an opinion to somebody else and then somebody else is holding it and then they're just like, that's my opinion. That's now my opinion. This is my opinion. That's mine. You're welcome, professor.
But the paradigm is a perspective.
Because is it a tool or is one objectively better than the other? Because they're both an equalizer, if you will. They both simply take...
I disagree with a lot of this. It's kind of nonsense.
Whoa! I don't think it's nonsense. I like the framing. They both can end with the same result, is what I was saying. Okay, I got wrecked. Wholesome man becomes wrecking me here. Okay, but I mean, what I was saying is they both can end in the exact same result. Both can produce the same end software, though Haskell has never actually delivered to production. I hear it can, and I hear it's the best software ever. He disagrees, so he fast forwards. Well, he has to. It's not like he can just sit there and do that. But is it actual? Like, One problem I always see is that efficiency of tools is the largest indicator of whether or not your project is going to be successful. The first time that I wrote Harpoon, I wrote it terrible because I really didn't know NeoVim. The second time I'm writing Harpoon, I'm doing a lot better. And it's just simply a proficiency of tool problem. Now that I know my tool better, I can now use it and write better. And so if you are really adept at functional programming, you can program pretty much any problem using functional programming. And so is there any real, is there a difference in the end? It's always a skill issue. Life is literally a skill issue, just constantly happening.
I think we can skip through actually a lot of this.
Versus oriented is like the that something is leaning towards or going towards it. Anyways, I could agree with this take so far. Okay, me and this Dave guy
have changed. This is an interesting insight and certainly bears some relationship to how I usually design systems, even though, as I've said before, I think of my approach as more object-oriented than functional. Definitions of OO usually include abstraction, which allows us to hide unnecessary details,
I don't like that word, okay? I'm a 1D programmer. I like one level of abstraction. Anytime you're working with an abstraction of abstractions, it becomes this insanity to refactor. Like the moment you need to change something, you have to change so many fundamental assumptions. Wow, that's not even assumptions about what you've done. And it just like blows things up. Yes. Anyone here have that happen to them? Anyone here work in really abstracted environments to make every problem feel simple? Anyone here? I work in an enterprise platform in which every single problem needs to feel simple, and therefore a simple problem, which is one line of code at the end of the day, feels nice. But the moment you need to change it, the amount of underlying things you need to change to remain this one line of code being nice is crazy. I find that abstractions, though they look nice in their end product, like, you tell me this does not feel good. When you come up with an abstraction that when you write it out in like its final line, it's like one line of code and you're like, dot, do that, dot, done that. Boom! Look at me.
Raise of hands. Yeah. How many people agree with that statement? You reach that point, it's so nice.
It is so nice. How good I am. You feel it so smooth. I totally agree with me, okay? I was right on that one. I was 100% right on this one. Pre-watched, pre-reacted. And then somebody comes along and is like, I need to add one. And you're just like, my life. I hate myself. And I hate everything here. And I'm going to quit my job. Right? Like, it's just like you somehow ruin your life over like the simplest request because you think you have something great, and then all of a sudden you're completely wrong because your abstraction just slightly changes, and now you're refactoring an abstraction that's built on an abstraction that's built on an abstraction, and your whole life crumbles. I hate it.
Since defining one type of thing in terms of another, polymorphism, being able to access things of different types through the same interface.
Pretty much all of this is functional programming minus inheritance, but I'm sure there's some sort of like type field property inheritance that you can do, right? I'm sure that it literally exists where you can just like map over the properties from one onto another object, and it's like a thing. You can have inheritance in Haskell, yeah.
And encapsulation, which allows us to hide.
Polymorphism isn't just an OO principle, right? I mean, polymorphism.
All right, we have our first definition of OO.
Yeah.
We have 4 principles that make up what is object-oriented: abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. And with that, let's actually swap back to slides.
I was really hoping he was going to say that's also functional. Pretty much that is functional programming, right? Like that legitimately, those 4 points, minus inheritance. Inheritance probably you could remove off that. Abstraction, encapsulation, I forget the other one, polymorphism. Like, it's not like any of those aren't functional programming also. It's emotionally painful, okay? It's emotionally painful. But hey, Pister Labs, appreciate this reaction. I know you didn't like that part, okay? Sorry you didn't like my full reaction, okay? I tried my best out there. I don't know if you ever do that, but sometimes you just say things and they don't come out necessarily correct. But hey, W Professor, appreciate that. Hey, like and subscribe on his channel. Bam, subscribed. Bam, I'm liking it. Professor using Prime Videos. W Professor. I know, still a W. A W is a W. That was fun. Hey, thank you very much. The name is the Reactogen.